Hello, baby yum yummers. I am Rianette Leibowitz, managing editor at this fantastic publication. And thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I am joined by the formidable Kath Megaw, who is a clinical pediatric dietitian and founder of Nutripaeds. Now, Kath is no stranger to BabyYumYum and our family because Kath has been part of the BabyYumYum.com experts team for a very long time. So you must have read her articles or seen her taking part in one of the webinars and so much more. Kath is outspoken about the importance of preparing for pregnancy. And today we're going to put the spotlight not only on what to do while you're pregnant and afterwards, but also in the preparation phase. So Kath, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited for this chat.
Me too. And I know I'm going to learn a lot from you, and I'm sure our BabyYumYum community will too. And just so that we all know, where are you joining us from today?
I'm from Cape Town and we've got gorgeous weather. It's like a perfect summer day in Cape Town.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you for making me even more jealous sitting here in Johannesburg. We are melting away at the moment on this side, but thanks to some thunderstorms, we get there. So, Kath, let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about 3 pillars of the pregnancy journey. The first part is going to be about preparing for pregnancy, then while you are pregnant, and on that fascinating, a bit scary, and the journey that really has so many thousands of questions. And then afterwards, after the birth, what do you do to keep yourself healthy? We've prepared for pregnancy. We get the amazing news. It's a positive test result. And now let's talk about nutrition during pregnancy. So pregnancy brings so many cravings and aversions. And I'm sure whoever's listening might actually like either laugh or cry because we know it can have different effects on all of us. So how can women ensure that they are still meeting their nutritional needs despite these challenges and navigating morning sickness?
Yeah, so morning sickness, which is more common in your first 3 months, can happen really any time of day. The more common and why it got its name, morning sickness, is often that is when our blood sugar is at its lowest. And we do know that morning sickness tends to be related to a drop in our blood sugar. Okay. So we do recommend regular intake of food throughout the day. Is very helpful just for managing those blood sugar moments and blood sugar dips. And so making sure that you are eating a little bit of all the different food groups that you feel you can kind of manage will be helpful. We do tend to find women are more drawn to more carbohydrates and a bit more savory type foods. If morning sickness is definitely a bit more triggered if you're eating very high fat foods or you are eating something that is maybe too sweet, also tends to potentially trigger it. And obviously if you eat lots of sugar, it will spike your blood sugar, but then it will cause a deeper drop. And that can make actually the morning sickness worse. So it's just that fine line between managing regular small little meals and often just having a few crackers next to the side of your bed or a little shake that your partner brings you in the morning before you get out of bed might just help you over that like low blood sugar hump in the morning.
And I love what you've said because it helps us to actually almost reframe the morning sickness. You almost perceive it as something you cannot do anything about. But the way you're explaining it to us is like it's really just managing those levels. And we can do that. Or, well, we can try at least, and
we can try,
alleviate some of it. So can you explain how the ingredients in supplements like Prego Mega Plus help fill any nutritional gaps during pregnancy, please, Kath?
So I think one of the things that I love about Prego Mega Plus is that it's got your 3 separate supplements that you can take, which sometimes moms will say to me, oh, I just want to take one pill. And then I explain that actually there's no one pill that can give you the best of these nutrients. And that by separating them, they've done that for a very specific reason. So the omega-3, which is really, really healthy and good for your baby's brain, and for mom's brain, You know, moms often say, I get porridge brain when I was pregnant, and it's really good because omega-3 is the food for our brains and obviously your developing baby's brain. And it becomes really important towards the end of your second trimester and your third trimester, and then into your fourth trimester after birth, for your baby.
All right.
So you want to, but the thing what people don't realize with the omegas, and specifically the omega-3 group, is that you need to build it up. It's not just a instant that you can kind of fix the deficiency in your body. And let's be honest, a lot of us don't eat the recommended amounts of fatty fish in the week. And even if we did, you know, we're also cautious because of the heavy metals and things like that found in our fish today, which is really sad. So we tend to maybe be a bit more cautious. Fish is also really expensive. And so we might not get, we definitely won't have over the past got enough omega-3s in our system. The majority of people are deficient in omega-3. So it gives your body time to build it up. So by the time your baby really needs it, like I say, towards the end of the second trimester, third trimester and beyond, your body then has sufficient to offer your baby. And we know that the omega-3 levels are adjusted in the placenta and in the breast milk according to your intake. So it's not one of those guaranteed things. There's certain nutrients in breast milk and in your placenta blood that is kind of almost irrelevant of whether you get them in or not. And there are other nutrients that are very directly related to your intake. And omega-3 being one of them. And then your other supplement is your calcium, which is obviously so important for the bones and of both your developing baby, but actually more importantly for mom's bones. That's one of the nutrients your body will find and give to your baby. So your baby generally will get enough calcium. However, your body will suffer if you are not supplementing with calcium or replacing the calcium, because the body's just going to draw it out of your bones and access it and give it to your baby. You won't necessarily then have access to it yourself. So we need to supplement you and protect you as the mom. And then the other one is just your lovely range of your multivitamins and your minerals, and of course iron being one of them as well. And so the reason why they separate that is just that they don't want to keep iron with the same space as the calcium, because calcium can hinder the absorption of iron often. And so that is also why it's really nice that they have separated the supplements in this way. And so it's so worth it and worth taking all three, and so important to take it. And then obviously your minerals, we've spoken about folic acid, which is a B vitamin. And then we know that magnesium is really important as well for bones. We know that the vitamin Bs in there are good for just your mental health. And that's why I always say to moms, you have to keep taking your supplement post-pregnancy because you need to restore and keep your mental health going. So we know that that range of vitamins is so important. So yeah, it's critical that you take a supplement that is good and that has got all the micronutrients that you need.
And I'm so glad, Kath, that you mentioned the fact that absorption and the way our bodies absorb all these fantastic, ingredients and, like you say, micronutrients, that we shouldn't underestimate how we take them, how, the combinations and so forth. And in this Prego Mega Plus package, they've already thought of all of that. So at least it's one less thing to worry and think about. And thank you for breaking it down in such a way that we can really understand that it's not only for the baby, but also for a mom. And the mental health part, I'm so glad you touched on that, because, well, I have heard in my own experience, once that baby is born, everyone is so happy and concerned about the baby. And you almost want to just have already established that routine of looking after your mental health through the right supplements, so that it doesn't even become something to worry about later, and that it maybe becomes a pothole for you to step into. So thank you for that. Then just a last question in terms of during pregnancy. What are some of the practical tips for pregnant women to balance a healthy diet with the physical and emotional demands of pregnancy?
So I think the important thing is planning. And I know this is sometimes a bit of a a difficult thing, but it can take away so much stress if you plan. So just take a little moment on your weekend if you're working, or if you've got other kiddies, or you've got a busy life like most of us do these days. Just plan your meals, make sure you get your food, buy the good healthy food, so that you don't end up last minute quickly going to a takeaway, or quickly just get in just some like a chocolate because you're just hungry and your blood sugar's dropping and you're just desperate, and it's so easy to quickly do that. So we definitely know, if you look at the research, that people who plan their meals for the week generally eat healthier. And that's just because you've had time to get and have access to the food. And then half the battle's won, and then the rest of the week will actually feel quite calm if you can do that. So planning is so important. And then the other thing is try and be as fresh as possible. So as seasonal as possible, because we know seasonal fruits and veggies are the ones that have the highest amount of the nutrients in them. And so eat lots of fresh fruits and veggies, especially as you go into your second and your third trimester and constipation becomes an issue, and you want to keep that good fiber going through your gut. And you also want to make sure that you are just building that gut microbiome, so that your baby has access to it during hopefully labor, if they do it naturally, or post-birth on your skin and through your breast milk. So you want to do that during the stages. So if you plan, you'll make sure that you have the good healthy grains and that you have the seasonal fruits and veggies, and make sure you have your protein. We know that protein keeps that placenta very healthy. So if a placenta doesn't have enough access to protein foods, it can deteriorate a bit quicker. And obviously, a placenta that starts what we call calcifying too early can, bring on early labor. So we really want to try and keep our placenta. And that's just one of the elements. There are other factors that might cause a placenta to calcify earlier. So I don't want a mom to feel guilty if that happened to her and it wasn't about that. It can be blood flow, a lot of things. But we do know that protein is also really important. And often moms in their first trimester can't really stomach too much protein. And then they kind of get out of the mode of it. And I really would like to encourage them to try and get back into it. And it can be, very mild proteins, can be like eggs, which is a wonderful protein source. The egg white is phenomenal. And if that's all you can stomach, then that's a good way to get in your protein in different ways. And then obviously your meats, but then you also get your plant proteins like your lentils and your chickpeas and your beans and that, which are good fiber, but also really good protein. So those are kind of the key points: is plan, make sure you have seasonal fruits and vegetables, cook as much as you can from scratch, and then make sure you have good healthy grains and your protein foods.
And I'm glad to hear that there's a variety to choose from, because, especially if you have a certain dietary preference and now all of a sudden you need to introduce new foods. So what I'm hearing you say is that it's actually quite flexible. And am I right in saying that it is advisable to take or to have something to eat before you take your supplements, or does it not really matter?
So that's a really good question. Omega-3 doesn't really matter if it's on an empty tummy. However, it is nice to kind of eat it with a bit of fat. So I often will suggest taking your omega-3 possibly in the evening. Can be quite helpful, because that's often when people have their fattier meal of the day. And then you definitely want to take that multivitamin mineral one, that capsule. That one you want to take after breakfast or lunch. So whatever's going to be your bigger earlier day meal. And remember, vitamin B is a stimulating vitamin, so it's going to make you alert and awake and feel fresh, and you definitely don't want that at night. So you do want to take that earlier on in the day. And the calcium tablet can preferably be at night or in the early part of the morning.
Again, so interesting to learn that you don't need to take a handful at once and feel pressured with, these tablets or the vitamins staring at you and feeling overwhelmed. Kath, is there anything else that you want to end off with, and as an encouraging message maybe to our BabyYumYum community?
Well, I think the most important thing of all this is to enjoy the journey. And not every day is going to be a perfect food day, but do your best, be mindful of it, But also remember that nurturing yourself and looking after you will help you look after your baby. So don't forget about you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Kath. We really appreciate it. Thanks again for teaching us, for empowering us, and for sharing the love that you have for the work that you do. And may you continue to just be this amazing, amazing force who, on a daily basis, like we were discussing before the recording started, like your little baby patients, that you continue to do amazing work. So thank you very, very much. And thank you for watching, BabyYumYum community. We are thankful for you. All of this is for you. So check out Kath's articles and everything else that we've got on our website at www.babyumyum.com.